Welcome back to the Dragon Den. My loyal Dragonites, King of Dragons 5000 is back with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batgirl from Batman and Robin. So here we have Batgirl out of the packaging, looking very impressive. Now unfortunately she doesn't come with any accessories dedicated to herself. Besides coming with the Mr. Freeze parts, Batgirl unfortunately doesn't get any accessories. So with that being said, let's take a look at Batgirl's details. Taking a look at the McFarlane Toys Batgirl, I have to say McFarlane has done a fantastic job here with the sculpt. This figure has a lot of details that are pretty accurate to what we saw on screen. Taking a look at the head sculpt, it's not the best likeness to Alicia Silverstone, but it's still a really good head sculpt. The mask that she's wearing is actually sculpted really well to her face, and you can see the eye black and the separation in the mask. Her skin tone does come off a little bit pasty because McFarlane painted the skin tone rather than casting her in flesh tone. I like the added effort that McFarlane put in trying to add detail to her hair. Unfortunately, the highlights are only in the front of her hair and nowhere else. But the hair sculpt is actually done really well and would have benefited from a lot of highlights, so that is a missed opportunity there. Taking a look at her bat costume, it's just cast in this really nice black plastic. You can see some details throughout her suit, including the bat emblem on her chest. McFarlane did pack on a lot of details on her outfit, especially the corset that we see going around her waist. Her arms are nicely sculpted where we do see the undersuit as well as her long gloves. At the top of the gloves we do have a pseudo bat emblem which is sculpted nicely. And the rest of the glove is sculpted to have this really rich leather texture which looks really good. And as tradition, she does have the 3 spikes coming out of her forearm. And there's also some nice detail on her fists, giving these gloves a lot of good and rich details. Her utility belt is just okay. It's very small, but we do have a bat insignia on the front of her belt. And unfortunately no pouches, it's basically just a belt going around her waist. Her pelvis is done in that same rich leather detail. Unfortunately it doesn't match the rest of the pattern that we saw in the corset. And you can see her suit is nice and smooth going down to her thighs, where once again she is wearing thigh-high boots. At the top of her thigh-high boots we once again have that pseudo bat insignia which is sculpted really nicely. And just like with her gloves, her boots have this really rich leather detailing and the texture on it is amazing. Besides the texturing, we do get a lot of folds and wrinkles, and it just brings out so much detail here. And just like we saw in the movie, she is wearing high-heeled boots. Finally, taking a look at her cape, McFarlane has done a great job replicating the texture of the latex that we saw in the movie and bringing it here into her cape. The scallops are done nicely on her cape, and you can see there's actually some line work going throughout her cape, so it is very impressive in terms of detail. As far as the details go, Batgirl here has some impressive detail, especially when it comes to texturing throughout her outfit. With Batgirl's details out of the way, let's compare her to our usual suspects. Here we have Batgirl posed next to the Marvel Legends Cyclops and DC Multiverse Superman. Mattel's WWE Elite Collection and Mezco's 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. The Lightning Collection White Ranger and the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally we have Batgirl posed next to the rest of the McFarlane Batman and Robin line. Overall, I like the way she scales with the rest of the Batman and Robin wave. She is shorter than the other characters. So with her comparisons out of the way, let's run through her articulation. Batgirl has a double ball joint in the head, ball-socketed shoulders, arms go out to the side and do a full 360, swivel at her bicep and double-hinged elbows. She has swivel hinges in her wrists. Batgirl has a ball joint in her upper torso and a ball joint in her lower torso. Legs do kick forward, go back, out to the side, and have a slight thigh swivel. She has a double bend in her knees, swivel hinge at her ankle, forward-facing pin for rocker ankle, and a toe hinge. So overall, the standard affair when it comes to McFarlane Multiverse articulation. So with everything said and done about Batgirl, let's get her posed for my final thoughts. So here we have the Batman and Robin Batgirl pose for my final thoughts, and overall McFarlane has done a great job here with Batgirl. Though the likeness isn't spot on, you can still tell who it's supposed to be, especially if you've seen the movie. This figure is lacking in a lot of paint, unfortunately. Most of the paint did go to her face and hair. However, her suit was mainly black in the movie, so you really can't fault McFarlane on that detail. The sculpt work that is present here on the figure is actually really good, and I love the fact that McFarlane added different textures to the latex and the leather. I enjoy the fact that McFarlane was able to texture her boots and gloves the way that they did, and one thing I absolutely love is the detailing going throughout her corset. Unfortunately, Batgirl doesn't come with any accessories, which might be a turnoff to some people. However, she does come with the essential parts to complete Mr. Freeze. If you're a fan of the Batman and Robin movie, you're definitely going to want to pick up the entire wave of Batman and Robin by McFarlane Toys. With that being said, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out all my other McFarlane Multiverse videos. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. Don't forget for exclusive content to check out my Patreon. And until next time, my fellow Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm KingofDragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.